Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
Running a small business means I wear lots of hats. When I put on my hiring hat, I can count on LinkedIn Hiring Pro to make it easy. LinkedIn Hiring Pro helps manage my hiring workflow, puts my job post in front of a unique network of professionals, and matches me with the best candidates for my business. I can also share my job with my network. No other job site lets me do that. No wonder most small businesses say they'd use LinkedIn Hiring Pro again. Hire right the first time. Post your job for free on LinkedIn today at linkedin.com/quality.
Well, all right. Welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast, Kevin and Chuck. Today, well, we're going to talk about the great outdoors, right? Prepping, survival show. A lot of us like to go out, hike, camp, enjoy nature. Well, there are certain basic essentials. Now, obviously, your most important tool is your mind, right? You know, they say, you know, like with a gun, that the safety's between your ears. Well, it's the same thing when you're outdoors and enjoying nature. You know, your biggest asset is your knowledge and what you're, you know, aware of. But as preppers, you know, we all like to talk about gear and cool stuff. So we're definitely going to, you know, jump into some cool gear and different things that you might want to look into. Anyway, so I don't know. I just was thinking of the focused mind. I know I got up for get ready to do the podcast this morning. I came downstairs and I usually make coffee and then go out and feed all the animals and then come back in and start the day. So last night I worked till like 2 a.m. or something. So I got about 4.5 hours of sleep or something along that line. And I go over to the coffee, and we usually have this like airtight vacuum container that keeps it fresh and nice, you know, once you open the bag and whatever. And we usually pour a bag into there, and then I spoon it out of there into the coffee filter or whatever every morning, stuff. So I go and do it. And I'm just so out of it this morning. I just rip open the bag and just start pouring it into the filter. And I look as it's like full to the top with, you know, there's like 3 cups of coffee and I'm like, ooh, you know, maybe I need to rethink what I'm doing here. My point is sometimes you get you need a clear mind, right? Mm-hmm. When you're going to jump into these things, it's important to approach it with a clear mind. But there's a lot of cool gear. Now, Kevin, what'd you come up with? You find a lot of cool gear out there?
Oh, yeah. I was looking at some interesting stuff, man. I was looking over these portable solar chargers. And it seemed like pretty lightweight. And like you could run an electricity or run a refrigerator on them, man. They're pretty neat. If you can find a place to set up when you're outdoors, you can carry it with you and you know, charge up your phones, charge up whatever you got. Yeah, I was thinking about getting one, a bigger one set up for, you know, for the house for power outages, you know, where I can just roll it out in the backyard. It's nice to have a generator, but everybody can hear a generator running, you know?
Oh, from a mile away. Right.
Right. So I thought that was pretty neat. I've been kind of shopping around for the bigger ones and you know, about $300 or $400. They're not cheap, but they're not bad either, you know?
Right.
But one of the main things I got into, when we were going over this, going over some of the newer gear was some of the new knives that are out. I like, different survival knives. And obviously there's, you know, a big range from, you know, a folding knife to like, you know, a machete sized survival knife, you know?
Now, what do you carry? So what is your go-to knife?
I use the Gerber Ultimate Fixed Blade. I like it because it's small enough to easily carry. It's got a fire starter with it, you know. It's got a good sheath that doesn't like dig into you while you're hiking, and you've got it on your belt. It's pretty, you know, decent knife. It's not too expensive, and it holds up. And it's got a good tang for like when you're batoning wood. You know, you get the blade in the top of the wood, and then you bang it with another piece of wood to split it. That's called batoning. I didn't know that until recently. But there you go.
Pro, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The Woodsman's Pow is a good knife. It's a 17-inch knife, and it's 11.5 inches of blade. It's a big size. It's great for when you're out there and when you're using it. But as far as like carrying it, it's something you probably want to carry in your pack rather than on your belt where you're hiking.
Okay. I usually have. To be honest, I usually just have the Leatherman and whatever. But if I'm doing something more involved or I'm going hunting, I have a Gerber like hunting knife, and it's got the little hook for, you know, the gut hook at the end, and it's the little fillet knife, you know, on the outside. It's got two like in the same sheath. It seems to work out pretty good for me, but it's basically that same Gerber knife that you were talking about. I also, back in the day, you guys have heard me talk about, there's the SOG Jungle Primitive.
Yeah.
If I'm like, you know, hacking up and making shelters out of 2-inch logs or something, that's your go-to. But if I'm just going on a hike in the trail and I'm not planning on building giant shelters or doing anything, that's not going to be something that I'm hefting into the woods, you know?
Right. Yeah, it's you know, I see a lot of these people are really pushing these big knives for survival gear, and I don't.
Bigger is more manly, Kevin.
I know. That's what they say, but that's, you know, in my experience, using a Bowie knife, like a big Bowie knife as a survival knife, it's not as versatile as, you know, as something that's designed to be a survival knife.
Now, at prepper camp, I was planning on pushing some survival and basic badass Bowie knives. And you're saying now everybody should not purchase those?
No, those knives are pretty dope. I've seen them. Seth Spin, I made those for us.
The blades and the sheaths.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, he's a good dude.
Damascus steel blades and, you know, hardcore hand forged.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but hand forged by somebody, but not me.
Somebody made it. Now, what about fire starters? I know a lot of people get real crazy about it. You know, You gotta have like the flint, and you gotta make it. You know, you gotta make your fire this way. I would say bring some lighters in a Ziploc bag. Yeah. Bring some fire.
That's
my
go-to. I definitely. I think people know that you're pretty well stocked with Bic lighters based on the episodes. Everyone's always like, I constantly hear a clicking noise.
I have mason jars around my house full of lighters just because I'm a lunatic, you know. But whatever. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely good to know how to make a fire without a lighter. You know, it's worthwhile to spend the time and learn how to do it. But don't put yourself in that position where your life depends on it, because it can be real hard to do in a wet environment, you know?
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with planning to be efficient. I mean, to learn bushcraft skills and become kind of one with nature, where you're like, you know, able to do, you know, oh, I can make a fire with 2 sticks. And I've done it, and it's exhausting, and it burns so many calories, at least for me. I mean, maybe your is better, you know, than mine, but I find you expand a lot of energy to kind of be cool and be traditional. And I think you should learn alternative ways.
Right.
You know, to start a fire. And I think that's awesome. And I think that, you know, bushcraft has its place. However, when you can make something convenient and easy with taking up almost no space and no weight in your gear, why wouldn't you? You know, why wouldn't you make your life easier? You don't you don't have to punish yourself. I know a lot of us have been brought up to think that the hard way is the right way. I have a buddy back in the day, Kim. I think you met him.
I've met him, yeah.
And he's a Mason. And this guy, he's out there, everything, oh, you have that chimney of bricks. I want to reuse all those bricks. Let me pull them down. Let me clean off every single brick and restack it all by hand, because that way it's going to be right. And, that's awesome, but you don't have to do everything the hard way.
Right.
You can make it a little bit easier on yourself. I'm just saying, just putting that out there for you guys.
Now you're talking about a flashlight.
Yes.
That you can use like a lightsaber to start fires.
Oh, yes. And you could just slice people in half as you go by. At least blind them. Now, I don't know, a buddy of mine brought one into work the other day, and I don't know the brand that he bought. So I can't discredit all of them. I would just say definitely read your reviews and maybe check it out on YouTube and see if you see some actual people from their house doing some of this stuff. But we tried to start a fire all day with my laser flashlight will start a fire. It didn't happen. We held there. However, we were in a well-lit room and neither one of us were looking directly at the laser. We basically approached it like it was a welder. And how much you would look at somebody welding. It was kind of like that. And even though the lights were on, it wasn't dark or anything. For the next hour, both of us were blind and walking into walls. So I would say, at least if you want to, dazzle the enemy or blind them, that might be the tool for you. I think that could be its design purpose or how you could apply it. But I don't think I was able, or anybody would be able, to start a fire with the ones that I have experience with. That's the answer.
All right. I mean, now we might as well roll right into flashlights with that.
All right.
Now you can get a flashlight from the gas station that takes two AA batteries and it will kind of light stuff up. You know?
Yeah. Now, what are they, C123A or whatever, the good batteries that work in the...
Yeah.
I don't know. That was always what the SEALs and the Special Forces back when I was doing it would use. But the problem was they'd tell me they'd get overseas and they couldn't get the batteries anymore.
They couldn't get replacements for it.
We had nowhere to get batteries, and then they'd be stuck. Now, I'm dealing with 10 to 15 year ago knowledge, right?
Right.
I don't know that you don't go out and have, as far as replacement batteries, right? I don't know what the access is to somebody who's overseas right now. And, if you can just get Amazon to airdrop something with a drone or whatever in the middle of the desert, maybe that's a thing now. I don't know how that works, but I know when I did it, that wasn't the case.
Amazon delivers everywhere now.
However, where I work, I do use those. I actually have these rechargeable batteries that end up being the equivalent of two of the 123A, whatever they are, batteries. And they work awesome. And these lights are 10 times brighter than anything we used to have. Even when we started the podcast, my go bags and my get home bag are full of, the mag lights with the 2 AA. And man, if you have the pre-LED version, they're pretty much worthless. You're like, how do you even see? What are you doing?
Right. And they weigh 10 pounds.
And, and then you get into the LED version and they're better, but they're still nothing compared to what you get from the new, better tactical lights that everybody's getting now. And there's a lot of awesome tactical lights out there. But there's a million to choose from. I think it's really just find something with quality batteries is the go-to.
Right. Now, a lot of people like flashlights. A lot of people like headlamps. I kind of like both. I will bring both of those. They're all, they both have their uses. You know what I mean? Headlamp is great when you're out at night trying to find wood for the fire because you don't have stuff in your hands, But flashlight can be a lot easier to shine in the direction that you want to, want to take a look at, especially for longer distances. Those headlamps seem like they light up a good 15, 20 feet, but that's really going to be it for most of them.
Yeah, just try it out and kind of understand the battery life of what you have, and have the appropriate replacement batteries, that kind of thing. The headlamps, I always have one in my get home bag. I have them in the other bag. So like every vehicle, I think has headlamps in them. I have one newer vehicle I haven't really squared away yet, but it's pretty new, so I haven't gotten around to it. New as in, we paid like $2,000 for it, but you know what I mean. New to the collection. Right. So the headlamps, they're definitely a go-to, because like you said, being able to work hands-free when you're setting something up, when you're building a little fire or whatever, maybe it's pitch black or whatever, cooking in the dark, whatever, it just makes things so much easier. I would say to consider, now this used to be a thing, nobody really does it anymore, having something with a red light so you can kind of have a lower profile with it. Right. Is awesome. That used to be, I mean, I know when I was in the military, everything was, you better have a red light or you don't even think about turning that on. Right. One, you kill everybody's night blindness, but two, it makes it that you're not seeing it from a mile away. Now it's only a quarter mile away, not, but it makes a big difference. I don't see anybody pushing or talking about that anymore with selling lights. So I don't really know why that's changed. Maybe you guys have some insight, put it in the comments. But either way, a red light is definitely an asset. Because as far as situational awareness, a bright light is not exactly going to help, your concealment. Right.
Yeah. And I can't tell you how many times I've dealt with somebody, at night that kept looking at me with their headlight on and blinding me,
right?
Just turn it off. Turn it off unless you're using it,
Yeah. No, that's always, a lot of people do that. That's a go-to common issue. Yeah. But now, it's just getting the angle. But anyway, go ahead.
Now, first, the next one we got here is a first aid kit. Now, a lot of people sell decent portable first aid kits. I'm not a huge fan of the pre-made first aid kits.
Not usually. Very rare.
I'm more of a build my own kit or get a survival kit that I take half the shit out of and put new stuff in. But a lot of those survival kits really cut down on their price by cheaping out on a bunch of the stuff that's in there,
And that's the thing. Like, basically, I try and find a nice pouch, and if that pouch comes with something, then that's going to be cool, and then I go from there. But even like if you want something that's got quality gear, there's something, like, I don't know. We used to have, I think we had a sponsor way back, My Medic or something. And we plugged them on the show, and then they never paid us or whatever they were going to do. And I was like, that's kind of suck. I mean, I know they did that to us, and I was like, what the hell? But anyway, there are guys out there that sell these things, and there are packs that are cool, but they're usually like $150, $160 if it's going to have the quality gear and the well thought out gear inside it. And that's always it's tough to find. Whereas I feel like you can buy a good quality trauma bag or something for like $15, the bag itself.
Right.
And then outfit it with the right gear, I would say for probably another 30 or 40. Because realistically, I mean, I didn't price these before the show, but realistically, a good tourniquet is probably around $15. Something that's going to work.
Right.
You can find them like you get them like $3 each if you buy a 5-pack. You get a little sketchy there where I don't know that I'd trust it. But if you're paying $15, it's probably enough. And I know there's like $40 ones that are a little bit better. But it's a little bit, it's like a Daniel Defense and your Aero Precision AR-15, right? It's better, but is it really? You know, like,
Right.
is it going to make a difference? Probably not. They're both going to stop blood from, leaking out the holes. Just saying.
Yeah.
And
Now,
you want to throw in Israeli bandage, some other cool stuff.
Yeah.
Usually there's good scissors out there that you can put in. You can get decent cutters for about 10, 15 bucks. But then on the flip side, decent cutters for 10, 15 bucks, but you could buy like the Gerber cutters for like 75. I like the Gerber, and they're, again, slightly better, slightly more useful, but you need to, think about your budget and where you're spending your money and how practical and how much you're really using. If I'm outfitting 3 cars, I really doubt they're going to all have those nice Gerber cutters in there.
Right.
But I do have one pair because, you need
if any of you guys know where to get a good quality first aid kit that has the stuff that you want,
it in the comments.
It's not $250. Let us know. Put it in the comments and or
you need to
send
send
us
us one. That's the answer.
There you go.
Kevin would really appreciate a good medic bag. Anyway, sorry, moving on. I know you didn't want to spend too much time on that, but
yeah. Another one I got here is cook set. I saw a PFM 40 cook set that, I was looking around. That was the best one I saw. The truth is it's kind of the same thing with the first aid kit. I like to kind of assemble my own stuff.
yes.
It's good to have a little fire, a little stove for cooking. It's good to have, something to cook with and something to eat off of, utensils, plates, that sort of stuff. I mean, you got to really kind of decide for what you're doing. If you're, going out with the whole family, then, it's different setup than if it's just for you.
Right.
Personally, I've got my own stuff set up, different. I've got 3 different kits for cooking, and they're all small and reasonable. And, they're all have different applications. But I mean, that's how it goes. A lot of the time, I mean, honestly, if you have a stick and a hot dog and a fire, you're good. You don't really need to get that crazy.
I have a couple sheets of aluminum foil that I stuck in the bottom of something.
Problem solved.
I have my Boy Scout handbook with 3 sheets of foil folded into it. I'm good to go. It's, I mean, cook on a stone, dude. It's not, you find a flat rock, you can make a grill and work things out. It's all about convenience and time. And that's really what it comes down to. None of us are saying you need to run out and spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to put together, to go on a hike in the woods. That's ridiculous. We're not trying to be like that, right? You have the iPhone and a couple of water bottles, you'll probably be okay.
You're good.
Your iPhone's got a little flashlight, you're navigating, you're good to go. But is that your best scenario? What happens when you fall in the creek and the iPhone goes away? Well, yes, but there's a lot of what ifs, that we could prepare
exactly.
for.
There's a lot of awful stuff that could happen.
The budget can spiral out of control into crazy. And that I get. So don't read me, wrong on this. But you got to think about what you're doing and where you're prioritizing your money and that kind of thing. So that's just something to consider. But as far as cook sets, I really like Stanley. They seem good. They have a bigger one that's not that big, but maybe it's like a quart pot. And it ends up, I just looked on Amazon. I was considering it. It was like $45. But to be honest, in all my bags, I actually have like a smaller one that's basically, maybe it's 2 cups in the pot. Maybe it's a cup and a half. It might even be a cup. But the smaller Stanley, I think it was about $27 when I got it. And I like the smaller just for space.
Right.
And this one, it has like a little cup. It has a little stuff in there. And the big thing with that is that it, I put like some bouillon cubes in it. I put some instant coffee mix in it, and I can actually fit it right in the container where I have a couple of little extra things that make life a little less, stressful. But I don't know. Now I mentioned navigation.
Yeah.
What do you think there?
Well, I
We were
mean,
Boy Scouts. Both of us were Boy Scouts, right? You were in the Scouts?
I was not in the Scouts. No.
Oh.
No. Yeah, my parents loved me and they didn't want me to get molested by scout leaders. So
me, I was one of the throwaway practice kids, right? Okay.
So yeah, I was looking at this one here, the Dalvey Voyager Compass. It's like super
that
fancy.
sounds bougie.
Yeah, it was super bougie. It's $150, and I would be scared to use it outside. it's like
pretty
real top of the line. It's like for that person that has the $5,000 watch. Yeah, you can get a pro site map compass for $40 though, and that's the way to go in my opinion. Something that's just that you can lay on your map. You can figure out where you're.
I just threw one up on the video here, and it's like it's probably $13 or $14, and no problem, with your Boy Scout map reading and whatever. What was the movie? I think every time we do a hardcore outside episode, I bring up that movie with the guy who shoots his coworkers, Alex Baldwin. And,
The Edge.
And The Edge, yes. And he has the little needle on the leaf. And he's like, oh well, I know how to, and that works. I mean, that's legit. Now, mind you, being 5 degrees off over time can really get you in the wrong direction. Right. So I'm not saying that's exactly your go-to, but it does work and will get you in the neighborhood. I feel like looking at the stars or sun would probably be about as good,
as accurate.
And but the one is cooler. You could dazzle your friends.
Right.
Look, we could make a compass by setting this in, whatever, I guess. Like you could. Or you could just be like, hey, that mountain's over there. Oh, there's the Empire State Building. That's west of us. And
there you go.
Whatever. You do you, right? I know you're saying, well, I'm out hiking in nature, Chuck. I'm not looking at the Empire State Building. No, but you might be looking at the Peekaboo Mountain or, whatever,
Right.
Who knows?
There's landmarks around. And that's, I mean, I guess if you aren't familiar with being out in the woods and stuff, maybe bring a compass and a map and figure out what the hell you're doing before you go. But whatever, different strokes, right?
You do you, right? I don't know. We get older, we get lazier. It's like, all right. It's kind of like Steven Seagal. Like anybody's ass, and he used to like hit the gym and be hardcore. Now, mind you, the guy's got to be freaking old by now, right? I don't know. He's got to be like Chuck Norris old.
He's so fat, though. I don't understand how he still makes movies.
Point. Right, but that's my point is you can get old and shot and be like, you know what? I still kill you. So whatever. It doesn't really matter. That's kind of how I am to hiking and camping. I'm kind of like, there's a lot of cool little tricks, but I know enough now that I can just I'm just going to make it work. Kind of like, so we'll say that I'm the Steven Seagal of outdoor preparedness.
There you go.
We need to put that on a shirt, right? That's
all right.
That's horrible. One day I'm going to come across Steven Seagal in a bar or something, and he's going to be like, "Fucker, I know you.
You're going to have to fight him."
That'll be the end. That'll be how Chuck dies.
But
right?
he lives. Isn't he like a Russian citizen now? Isn't he permanently gone to the dark side? I don't know what the situation is with his ass.
All right, sorry, I had to go on the little Steven Seagal rant. You know how it is.
Yeah, he did make some decent movies back in the 80s, but what are you gonna do? Sleeping bags. I've made some serious mistakes with sleeping bags. There's, obviously your sleeping bag needs to be appropriate for the weather you're dealing with. If it's going to be 20 below, you need to bring that 40 below sleeping bag. I've got a sleeping bag that I brought out that goes down. It's like a real lightweight, real small sleeping bag. Goes down to, I think it's for 40-degree weather.
Okay.
I tell you what, it hit 35 and I was freezing my ass off.
Yeah, like your toes, your feet.
Yeah, you want to have the appropriate stuff. Now they got those. What are those space blankets? That reflect the heat.
Drop on.
Yeah, they actually can be pretty useful if you use them right.
To be honest, like having that as your ground cover, throwing them on the ground to separate, because people don't realize like how much insulation like a new house has on the floor to protect you from the ground. Right. And it really makes a big difference. And it's the same thing when you're out in a tent, that space blanket kind of thing, laying it down to reflect the temperature underneath you really does make a big difference in how warm you're going to be. Way back in the Boy Scouts, some of you older hardcore guys probably remember they had the Order of the Arrow. And I don't even know if it was for that, because I don't even know how far I went or what I actually did. So I don't even know. But I know that I somehow ended up, it might have just been the Wilderness Survival Merit Badge, but somehow I had to spend the night for 24 hours outside in the woods. And somehow in my mind, I was like, well, I'll do it in the winter because I'm lazy, and making a snow fort is easy. You won't question my snow fort making abilities. And I was like, this will be great. And so I go and I make the snow shelter and whatever. And this is New York and a little bit in the mountains, and not Buffalo or anything crazy, but I bet you it was still about 5 degrees outside. And I probably had, my parents weren't exactly down for helping out with the big camping budget or whatever. Right. So my sleeping bag was probably like a 30-degree, maybe a zero. I think Sub-Zero were the cool ones at the time. I think that's what they were called. Like that was like a brand name. It was like I had like the Sub-Zero that was like the 30-degree temperature. That's my guess. Something like that. Like I don't know. You're probably like, oh, they didn't even make one of those. Well, I don't know. Whatever. But bottom line, I froze my ass off all night long. Like I slept 0 minutes the whole night. I'm like just shaking and freezing my butt off, and that's how it goes sometimes. So you do have to plan, and you have to realize what sleeping on the ground is going to do, and what being out there, especially if you get wet, that kind of thing, it does make a difference. I mean, man, if you're out hiking and it's wet and soggy out, things take a turn. It can be miserable if you're not dressed appropriate. The old Vietnam guys used to have those boonie hats, right? And people now are like, oh, that's just silly looking, you whatever. But man, they kept that rain off your face. It does. It spreads it out, and it makes a big difference. That, and you guys have heard the term jungle rot. Well, it's not a good thing when your feet are constantly soaked and your butt crack and your everything else is soaked, and you don't want any of that when you're out there.
Yeah, for sure. But, as far as those, as far as cold weather sleeping, I always now, I'm old now, but I now always bring something like some sort of a pad to separate me from the ground, especially cold weather. It's necessary. You have to have something that's going to keep your body separate from the ground directly, Now let's talk about water purification.
Yes.
Now, obviously, bring plenty of water with you when you're out there. You don't want to be finding your own water. Worst case scenario, though, you want to be able to filter water.
Yeah, but Kevin, America is filled with beautiful lakes and streams. I have to point this out.
That's right. That's right. Some of them aren't polluted.
Not too many. I think there are actually states that say that 0 of their water bodies are safe for swimming
for swinging and drinking.
Like whole states. That's
when I was a kid, I used to go swimming in the Hudson River. It's it's not too far from me. What I know about the Hudson River now,
you have some mutations, Kevin.
I remember having that water in my mouth when I was swimming.
And you're like, oh,
oof. It's like there all sorts of nasty stuff.
They were always like
tumors. Already.
They were always like, you can eat 1 or 2 fish a year out of there is what they used to tell us back in the day. I don't even think they mentioned it anymore because they're like, it's not any crappier than the stuff you're getting from the store. And I kind of feel like that might be the case with the water. They're like, oh, well, the lakes and the streams, they're all polluted. And the water I get out of the plastic bottle, how's that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's polluted also.
It's also polluted.
Yeah. So, and it's got chlorine and every other thing in there that's not exactly helpful to your body.
Your PFO, it's got the PFOAs and all that sort of stuff. That's what makes it taste good. A little bit of Giardia. That's how you know it's good. Yeah. Now you can boil water. Not a big deal.
Okay.
Boil it, drink it. You're fine. Don't be a baby. Suck it up. Little bit of fecal coliform in there. A little bit of poop bacteria. It's fine. It's fine.
Strain it through yesterday's underwear. You can clean them and get rid of them. Kevin, that's going to be how you kill people this episode.
But I mean, there are things like life straws. Those are pretty damn useful.
There's a company I like, Sawyer, makes water filters. And the bigger thing, it's nice to have something that you can like fill other containers with. Like the Life Straw, and maybe they make other stuff now, but the traditional one that I know, you can just kind of straight drink the water out of the creek with it or whatever, and you got to kind of suck it through. You want something that you can pump and fill containers, that kind of stuff. Sawyer, I know, used to have an attachment that you can put right on a water bottle, and it would screw right on top, and you could drink it out of the water bottle. So you could fill your 5 plastic, Dasani water bottles or whatever, and throw them in the bag of dirty water and then drink it through the Life Straw. That's kind of cool. Another option that works, or through the Sawyer water filter. So there are different cool ones out there. I've been meaning to reach out and do an episode on actually water pumps and water filtration. I wanted to kind of reach out to some companies and see if I could get some specs and things that we could really go through and dig deep into that. But having a good water filter, and like I said, I really do trust and like Sawyer. That's something that I've been happy with in the past. We used to have a sponsor, and it was really great. One of the girls out there sent it to us, but it was like $60 or $70, and like it was an awesome water filter for us. But I know that's a big stretch for a lot of people, especially if you have multiple go bags to fill up.
Yeah. Now, also, one of the things that I used a lot in the past and works pretty well are the water purification tablets.
Yes.
Obviously, you have to have clean water. Like, you can't get swamp water and throw those things in there and have them work.
Right.
You want to filter it through something. If you can find a clean running stream, then it'll usually work. It might discolor the water a little bit. They have iodine ones.
So cheap to buy. They have the little packets. They're so cheap, and you can do a little bit better and have the, like in a little plastic bottle that are nice that you can add to them. But those things are so cheap to throw in your bag. And so easy. And all you have to really do, I mean, you filter stuff through your shirt, through a clean cloth.
Yeah, just get the leaves and sticks and shit out of there.
Too, you need time to let it purify. I mean, again, if water is really questionable, it's going to be really questionable, but throwing some iodine or chlorine in there, any of these water purification systems, it's going to make it better. It's going to up your odds of not having horrible stomach cramps or something later by a long shot.
Yeah. So. Yeah. You just have to give it make sure you give it the time to do its work, What else do you got on the list, Chuck?
You threw me there. So good flashlight, good. A cook stove. We got that. Shelter. What about shelter? What do you do for shelter? Now, we talked about sleeping bags. That's kind of, that to me falls under shelter. Having a good, ground cover, or like you said, the space blankets or the survival blankets. One of the things with that, they do sell them in like camo colors. They're maybe slightly more, like instead of $1 each, you might pay $3 or $4 each. But they're going to protect you from the thermal scope out there. I'm just saying.
Ooh.
When the helicopter's out there looking for you after things kind of got a little went awry. I'm not
went
saying
a little sideways.
Why that might happen, but I'm just saying if there's helicopters out there with thermal looking for you, having some good colored tarps to throw over you that are reflective and will protect you from thermal might be a nice thing to have. I'm just saying for no reason. I mean, no reason at all would I be out there running from governments and crazy things, but like in a movie, right?
Right. In a movie.
A movie.
I will bring tents depending on the weather and the situation. Most of the time, though, if it's decent weather, I looked at the weather before I'm going out. There's not any rain or anything. I'll just bring a tarp. Bring a tarp. I'll either lay on top of it or, put it on, put it up above me, hang it up with some paracord to, but the truth is, depending on the weather, really dictates what kind of shelter you need to bring. A good 2-man tent is easy enough to stick in your bag. A 2-man tent is actually a 1-man tent.
If I'm doing a day hike, I don't know that I'm bringing the tent.
Right.
But I understand. And you're right. They're not hard to carry. Somebody mentioned the water flavor kits. They have the little pouches of water flavoring. That makes it huge when you're drinking filtered water. I mean, obviously we only go hiking because we're bougie in the nice pristine mountains with the rippling creek that's beautiful and whatever. And then when we filter it, it all tastes like Poland spring water, right? But that's not always the case in reality. When you're drinking it out of the sewer vents on the side of the road, it doesn't always have the same flavor that you might be looking for. So there are a lot of little water packets flavor packets. They have little plastic bottles of them, and they also have little pouches of stuff that you can put in the water. That's awesome. There's also ones with caffeine and things that can make your day a little bit better too, that you can add. That's going to maybe help you get home a little bit quicker.
Now, one of the guys mentioned the hammocks.
Yes.
War bonnet hammock. Now, I've used these. They're great. They keep you off the ground. They're ideal. A lot of them have covers that will go over top of you. A lot of them will have even just nets that'll keep the mosquitoes off your face while you're sleeping. I've used them. They're comfortable. They're great. They're easy to sleep in, easy to carry. Most of them weigh like 2 pounds,
Yeah.
They've got really, really good at setting these up. I definitely had one that I set up over a creek that, I was enjoying my life, living right. And then, trying to get out of it,
little tough
in the water.
Sounds like, right.
I mean, so that happens. So, I mean, maybe just don't set it up over the creek.
Right.
But I mean, they're really good. They're really useful, very light, very easy to pack. They pack up into like a little, 8-inch by 8-inch bag and you're fine, man. Everything's great. So I would definitely recommend if you're going out on a hike and it's you hiking and you're spending the night overnight, definitely look into those. They're definitely worthwhile.
I had some old Vietnam era hammocks, and I usually use them for gear and for setting stuff up. It's rare that I would want to be like, hey, that's something I want to get into. Hammocks have come a long way, but again, it's all your budget, Right. It's all relative. So bottom line, it's really having the knowledge, getting yourself prepared, learning some bushcraft skills is really going to be your go-to on what kind of, what you need to bring in the woods. But I got to say, a good knife, I always carry the Leatherman rebar as a multi-tool. Obviously, it's not the same function completely as a fixed blade knife. I understand that. And if I had the choice, I'd rather have a fixed blade knife once I'm out and actually in the woods, and that's my only thing. But if I compare how much I'm in the woods and how much overall things I'm doing on the farm, things I'm doing at work, whatever, the rebar or something is more my go-to of something I'm going to carry every day, right? But you also learn how to use the tools that you have available, and you get familiar with their uses and their options and, what you can do. So you got to find what works for you and your lifestyle. That's really what it comes down to. But good water filtration. having a way to cook or prepare food. Again, it's based on your ability, but definitely being able to start a fire, first aid, sunblock, bug spray are things that I always want to, keep in mind. And just being able to keep yourself warm, having an extra sweatshirt, having extra wool socks, having, something that you're going to be able to offset if the temperature turns, or, there are other cases, you're out with the kids, whatever. You don't know how you get up that mountain on that 2-mile hike trail or whatever up the mountain. And the kids are all like, I'm dying of thirst. I'm falling down. I can't. And, you need to prepare for these things. Mm-hmm. And, turns out maybe some of the adults out there might be like that. I don't know. I mean, the modern world, things are changing, Kevin. They're not all as hardcore. You don't just, but it is funny. You see those like hiking pictures of people are like out there with walking sticks and all bougie. And then, you see little kids out there with flip flops, lapping them or whatever.
Right. Right.
Wait a minute, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
But that's how it is sometimes. So anyway, that's what I got. I want to point out, we do have a Facebook group. We have a Facebook page that you guys might want to check out. If you go to preppingbadass.com, we have an email list you can sign up for. You have show ideas, concerns, people you think we should meet, talk to, have on the show, whatever, email us at preppingbadass@gmail.com. And, I really appreciate you guys sticking with us and being out here. It's nice to have more people back in the chat. Facebook's really been screwing up how they do their live stream. So we've been having a go at that. I've been trying to come up with alternatives and it doesn't seem to be working easy. So anyway, I really appreciate it. Stay safe. And we will talk to you guys next week.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
Hello?
Look what TJ Maxx dragged in.
The Devil Wears Prada 2 is now streaming on Disney Plus and Hulu.
We are digital, we are downloadable, we are streamable.
The fashion event of the year is certified fresh.
Pull yourself together, we have work to do.
Critics say it's smart and witty and the perfect sequel.
That's all.
Get runway ready for The Devil Wears Prada 2 on Disney Plus and Hulu. Rated PG-13.
Evening. Buyer's remorse. Buy a new car? I'll be moving in. Let's get started.
Sorry, I think there's been a mistake. I bought it from Carvana.
You what?
Yeah, great price. I even have 7 days to love it or return it.
So there's no...
No buyer's remorse. More like buyer's rejoice.
I guess I'll let myself out. Congratulations. I mean it.
Buyer's rejoice. Buy your car today on Carvana.
Limitations and exclusions may apply. See our 7-day return policy at Carvana.com.